In late January 2026, a winter storm of historic scale swept across the United States, capturing the attention of meteorologists and citizens alike. What began as a distant disturbance on weather maps soon grew into a colossal system, stretching from the Canadian border all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. The storm unleashed relentless snow, sheets of ice, and a surge of Arctic air, blanketing cities and rural communities from the northeast to the deep south. For many, it was the first time they had seen such extreme winter conditions, with snow piling up in places that rarely see a single flake. What started as a typical winter event quickly escalated into a national crisis. Highways became impassable, airports shut down, and businesses closed their doors as the storm intensified. Emergency services were stretched to their limits, responding to hundreds of calls for help as stranded motorists and isolated families waited for rescue. States unaccustomed to such extremes were caught off guard. Roads iced over in minutes, power lines snapped under the weight of ice, and the bitter cold became deadly for those without shelter or heat. In some areas, temperatures plummeted so quickly that even seasoned residents were unprepared for the severity. As the storm bore down, panic buying set in. Grocery store shelves emptied within hours, and hardware stores sold out of heaters and generators. Families huddled together, hoping the power would stay on, while others braced for long nights in the dark. From January 23rd to 26th, the storm raged on, relentless and unforgiving. The death toll climbed steadily, with dozens confirmed lost by January 27th. Emergency workers risked their lives to reach those in need, often battling blinding snow and treacherous ice to deliver aid. This was more than a weather event. It was a human tragedy, marked by both devastating loss and acts of quiet heroism. Neighbors checked on each other, volunteers braved the cold to clear driveways, and families found comfort in togetherness, even as the world outside seemed frozen in time. The storm exposed deep weaknesses in infrastructure and preparedness, leaving millions without power or heat for days. Yet, it also revealed the resilience and determination of communities, as utility workers and volunteers worked around the clock to restore services and distribute supplies. With temperatures plunging up to 30 degrees below normal, the storm left at least 62 dead, each a story of loss and survival. For many, the memories of those harrowing days would linger long after the snow melted, a reminder of nature's power and the fragility of daily life. This is the story of the Great Winter Storm of 2026, a storm that tested the limits of endurance, revealed the strength of community, and left behind lessons that will shape how we prepare for the next great challenge. The storm's deadly reach spanned more than a dozen states, claiming 62 lives by January 27. New York suffered the most, with 11 deaths, 10 from exposure to the cold. Indiana lost 9, while Louisiana, Tennessee, and Texas each mourned 8, including a tragedy that gripped the nation. Mississippi and Pennsylvania each reported 4 deaths, Arkansas and Massachusetts 2 apiece. Even states like Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and South Carolina, unaccustomed to such cold, each lost at least one resident. Behind every number is a personal story, a life cut short by the storm's relentless force. The collective toll is a sobering reminder of our vulnerability to extreme weather. Understanding these losses is crucial for future preparedness. Each state's tragedy underscores the need for better awareness and resilience. The most pervasive killer during the storm was the cold itself. Hypothermia and exposure claimed over 24 lives. As temperatures plunged to record lows and relentless winds whipped through towns and cities, the very air became a threat. For many, the cold wasn't just uncomfortable, it was deadly, creeping in silently and sapping life away before help could arrive. Vulnerable individuals, especially the elderly and those without shelter, faced lethal conditions as temperatures and wind chills plummeted. Many lacked the resources or mobility to seek warmth, and shelters quickly filled to capacity. For those living on the streets or in poorly insulated homes, the storm was a relentless adversary, turning everyday survival into a desperate struggle. In South Carolina, a 96-year-old woman with dementia wandered outside and succumbed to the cold. In Indiana and North Carolina, others were found too late. These heartbreaking stories were repeated across the country, as families and first responders searched in vain for loved ones lost in the storm's grip. The cold showed no mercy, affecting rural communities and bustling cities alike. New York alone saw 10 deaths from exposure, many simply caught outside at the wrong moment. Some were stranded on their way home, others trapped by sudden whiteouts or power outages. The city's usual bustle was replaced by an eerie silence, broken only by the howling wind and the distant sound of emergency sirens. Hypothermia is insidious, often causing confusion and poor judgment, making rescue even harder. Victims may not realize they are in danger until it's too late. Wandering away from safety or failing to seek help. frostbite, and numbness set in quickly, robbing people of the ability to move or call for assistance. These tragedies highlight the need for community vigilance, checking on neighbors, supporting the unhoused, and recognizing the signs of hypothermia. Simple acts, like offering a warm drink or a spare blanket, can mean the difference between life and death. In times of crisis, the strength of a community is measured by how it protects its most vulnerable members. The storm's death toll from exposure is a stark warning. Extreme cold is a silent, deadly threat. It does not discriminate, and its effects can be swift and unforgiving. Memorials and vigils now stand as somber reminders of lives lost, urging us to take future warnings seriously. Protecting the vulnerable must be a priority in every community. By preparing ahead, staying informed, and reaching out to those at risk, we can help ensure that no one faces the deadly cold alone. Together we can turn compassion into action and prevent future tragedies. Shoveling snow, a routine winter chore, turned deadly for at least 8 people during the storm. Heavy, wet snow and frigid air put enormous strain on the heart, especially for those with underlying conditions. In Indiana, a man died after repeated shoveling. In Massachusetts, hospitals treated multiple heart attacks linked to snow removal. Cold air constricts blood vessels, raising blood pressure. Combined with strenuous activity, it's a recipe for disaster. Most victims were middle-aged or older men, but anyone unaccustomed to intense exertion was at risk. The lesson: take breaks, listen to your body, and seek help if you have health concerns. No driveway is worth a life. Approach snow shoveling with caution and respect. Public awareness of these risks can save lives in future storms. Despite warnings, necessity forced some onto roads transformed into sheets of ice. At least 9 died in vehicle accidents as black ice made even routine drives perilous. Crashes spanned the storm's footprint, from Midwest highways to southern backroads, often involving experienced drivers caught off guard. First responders faced chaos and danger, working in freezing conditions to rescue victims. The lesson is clear: when officials urge people to stay off the roads, the risk is real and deadly. Modern vehicles are no match for solid ice. Sometimes the only safe choice is to stay home. The lives lost on icy highways are a sobering testament to the storm's power. In the heart of Fannin County, Texas, a devastating tragedy unfolded during a rare and bitter winter storm. 3 young brothers, full of life and curiosity, ventured onto a frozen pond near their rural home. The ice, deceptively thin from the unusual southern cold, gave way beneath their feet, plunging them into the frigid water below. The youngest brother was the first to fall through, his cries for help echoing across the silent, snow-covered landscape. Without hesitation, his older brothers rushed to his aid, desperate to pull him to safety. But the ice could not hold, and in their brave attempt to save him, both boys were lost as well. Their mother, Cheyenne Hangeman, witnessed the unimaginable. Overcome with fear and love, she dove into the icy water, fighting against the breaking ice and numbing cold. Despite her frantic efforts, the relentless winter conditions made rescue impossible, and she was forced to watch as her son slipped beneath the surface. The loss of the 3 brothers sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community. Neighbors gathered for candlelight vigils, offering prayers and support to the grieving family. The pond, once a place of childhood adventure, became a somber memorial, covered in flowers and messages of love. This single heartbreaking incident became a symbol of the storm's devastation, accounting for 3 of the 8 lives lost in Texas during that week. The tragedy underscored the vulnerability of families caught off guard by extreme weather, and the profound impact such loss can have on an entire community. The events in Fannin County serve as a stark warning about the hidden dangers of frozen ponds, especially in regions where hard freezes are rare and residents may not recognize the risks. Thin ice can appear solid, but it is often treacherous, unable to support even a child's weight. Ice can be deceptively thin and deadly. No moment of curiosity or play is worth the risk. It only takes a second for a joyful day to turn into a nightmare, and for families to be changed forever. The loss in Fannin County is a permanent scar on the community, a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly winter's beauty can turn deadly, and a call for greater awareness and caution in the face of nature's unpredictable power. The storm's dangers weren't limited to the outdoors. Inside, the search for warmth led to new risks. At least 2 women died in house fires, likely caused by unsafe heating methods as power outages forced residents to improvise. Space heaters, fireplaces, and ovens, if misused, can ignite deadly blazes. In Virginia, a toddler died after falling through ice, echoing tragedies elsewhere. The storm created unfamiliar hazards, fires, falls, and accidents, each adding to the grim toll. Emergency preparedness must include safe heating practices and awareness of hidden dangers. Every unique incident deepened the storm's impact, revealing the many ways disaster can strike. The 62 lives lost reflect the storm's far-reaching and unpredictable threat. The storm's devastation was driven by a rare combination of heavy snow and a surge of Arctic air. Snowfall blanketed vast regions, straining infrastructure and emergency services. Then, temperatures plunged 15 to 30 degrees below normal, with wind chills causing frostbite in minutes. Power grids strained, pipes burst, and first responders battled both emergencies and the elements. Southern states, unprepared for such extremes, faced chaos from even a few inches of ice. The storm's reach, from the Canadian border to the Gulf Coast, exposed vulnerabilities nationwide. No region was immune. The brutal conditions set the stage for tragedy. Understanding these forces is key to preparing for future storms. As the snow melted, the true cost of the storm became clear. 62 lives lost, countless families changed forever. Communities mourned, holding vigils and sharing stories to honor the victims as individuals, not statistics. The economic and emotional scars will linger, especially in places like Fannin County, Texas. The storm forged new bonds of resilience as neighbors supported each other through recovery. Urgent lessons emerged: the need for public education on winter dangers, safe heating and the risks of frozen water. Robust community support, warming centers, wellness checks proved essential. The memory of those lost must drive change, making us better prepared and more connected. We can't stop the next storm, but we can honor the dead by protecting the living.